Okay guys, today we're going to be doing some competition style ribs. It's something you've been asking me about for quite some time. So we're going to start off with what ribs are you picking at the store when you buy them. Now you really want a good set of ribs that's got some flex to it. I know this bag doesn't really do you any favors. These are really thick vacuum sealed bags, but you can still check and see if they've got some flex. Now I tried to get the straightest boned ribs I could at the store, but I didn't have a whole lot to choose from. You do want some fairly straight bones there, and also on the bone side of this, you want to make sure it's nice and thick. You don't want thin, not very meaty ribs. Then you get shiners and you're not going to do very well in the competition. So this is a pork spare rib, so we're going to trim it up for competition. So we've got our ugly drum smoker heating up. We're going to take it up to about 275 to do this cook on. So that's heating up. Let's go ahead and get into this trim. I like to start on the bone side to open it up, because if I make any gouges or accidentally cut it, it's going to be fairly well hidden, and there's a lot of trimming going on back here. So first we see here is the diaphragm, and we want to go ahead and take that off. Get you a sharp knife and get that removed. So we want to have these cut down. These are spare ribs. We want these kind of a St. Louis style. So you can feel your bones have a little bit of a knuckle here. And then there's some cartilage and stuff like that back here. There's a bone here. And basically we don't want any of this on our competition ribs. So what I like to do is take a sharp chef's knife, and I like to find my knuckle. Get me a straight line established. Just kind of score it across there. And then I like to push down in the middle, all the way down, and you're pushing pretty hard. Just pop it. Every so often you gotta pop it. Pop, lock, and drop it, right? So we're cutting it across, and then we spin it around and go over here and do the exact same thing this way. A lot of guys cut this last bone off of here for competition. I leave the big side on just for some protection. I do take the two smallest ones off of the end over here. So, see all this gristle, all this fat? We need to come in and trim as much of that off as possible. Try not to cut into the meat, but we do want to get all that fat off of there. So just like when you pick up a brisket to get in there, make those nice long strokes, do the same thing here. Some of that loose stuff like that, it's going to burn, so just take your knife, take it off. Go ahead and flip it over. See that little bit of looseness there? Let's go ahead and take it off. And on this side, you really want all the fat off the top of it. So it'd be like the point of the flat of a brisket. You don't want any fat hanging around. It's not going to hold your bark well. It's not going to hold your seasoning well. And just overall, it needs to come off. So there's a nice layer there. And again, picking it up to get underneath it. Try not to get into the meat too much. Sometimes, like that, there's a butcher's cut there. I didn't have much of a choice. So I just tried to flatten that out. Every so often you'll get nicks in it from the butcher, and you don't want to cut it out, but you want to flatten it out by cutting all the way around it. See all that fat there? It's a lot of fat. And because I know I'm not turning in from here over, or pretty much from here over, and I'm cooking, you know, for a competition, 4 to 6 racks of ribs, just to make sure I have similar size ribs and make it all look nice and uniform and good. So I'm not terribly worried about those edges over there. But now that we've got the majority of this top fat off, let's go ahead and get our edges cut down a little more smoothly right here. So like I said, we've got the fat trimmed off of it, and it looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and square this side up and make sure that our lines are nice and straight right here. For the backyard, I would definitely not even worry about this. For a competition, the more time you take in your prep, the better your turnout, and the better your chances of walking are going to be. So, I said this on our brisket trim video. I know guys that take an hour to trim a brisket, take an hour to trim ribs. I'm not that guy, but they win a lot. So I can't say that they're wrong or right for it, but it works for them. So what I like to do is bunch it up to make sure it's square, because that's how I'm going to cook it. I'm going to cook it bunched up. See, there's a little tag there. And when you bunch it up, it straightens those ribs out. It straightens all those bones up really nice. Alright, so I think that's it for this portion. I think we're all trimmed up where we need to be. So now that we've got it all cut nice and square, let's flip it over and let's get that membrane off and any of this subcutaneous fat off of this side so that we're ready to go. So I like to take my knife and I'll follow it up the second bone, and don't try to cut it. Butter knife or the end of a spoon works just as well, and you just wiggle it up like that. Get it up in there enough so that your thumb and a paper towel can fit just right. Paper towel is going to give you that grip action, that kung fu grip. Peel it all the way off. So there's some huge chunks of fat right here. Just going to pick it up, carve it out. Not going to be as meticulous on this side as I was on the front, but I do want to get that fat off of there. We do want some fat on this side because we are going to be cooking it this side down, bone side down, so we always put the fat towards the heat for a layer of protection. It's a lot of fat off the bottom of that. Any loose ends, get them off, because they're going to flake off or they're going to burn and not do you any favors in the competition.